Good day, Robert Farrell here. Hey, I've been teaching Adobe Illustrator Power Techniques since 1987 here in New York City, 33 years. Click this banner ad that you see right here, go to thinkillustrator.com, and I will share with you for free my top 10 production techniques must have to make you a better user. Now watch this. Good day, so I'm going to share with you my techniques, my power techniques for creating spirals. Now, I'm using the most current version of Illustrator 2020, and I'm in Essential Classics. I have available these menu choices here. Now, if you're not an Essential Classic, I highly suggest you set there, and everything else is set by default. Now, I want to share with you one of my most powerful techniques is I start every document, of course, saving the document, but more importantly, I always put a guide there to guide and assist me for whatever reason. Command R under the View menu, bring up rulers, Control R for Macintosh, for Windows. Now, the next thing I do when I start a document is I always hit the A key. The A key will select the direct selection tool. From this point forward, I never have to go back to that tool. On Macintosh, I can simply hold on the Command key. So as an example, if I'm in the spiral tool for creating spirals, I can select the spiral by holding down the Command key. Now, if I want to get the whole entire spiral, I hold down the Command key, Control key for Windows, and the Option key, Alt key, and then I can select the whole thing, so I don't have to do this. Okay, so we're going to create some real spirals the right way using my proven power techniques. Again, I've been teaching Illustrator for 33 years, so if there's a better way to do things, you've come to the right spot. Okay, so we're going to create a spiral here, and a couple of choices that you have when you create a spiral. If I hold down the Command key, I can create less of a decay or more of a decay with my spiral. And if I hold down the R key, I can flip it to the other side. Now, you're just tapping the R key. You're not holding it down indefinitely. If you hold it down indefinitely, you're going to get wacky things happening. So I'm going to basically create a spiral to the left or R to the right. So I'm going to create a spiral like this. Okay, then I'm going to come up to make sure that your stroke is selected. X to exchange. Right now, it's no fill and just a stroke. So I'm going to increase the size of my stroke by holding down the Shift key 10 points. Actually, a little bit more. I'm going to back off that. Let's go to about 7 points. Now, what I want to do from here is give it some kind of character. So I want this to basically taper in all the way around to the other end. I'm going to hold down the Command key and the Option key to make a selection tool and move this to the center. Okay. Now, at this point, I want to turn for more flexibility. I want to convert my spiral into an outline. Anything about the object is under the Object menu, Object Path, Path, Outline, Stroke. So therefore, it no longer is a fill, it is now a stroke. So I'm going to come over here and double click, and I'm just going to change this to, say, green. Okay, now here's where the fun starts. Again, you'll see me, if it's a fill now, I can just click inside the fill holding down my Command key. Keep in mind, I'm still in my spiral tool, so if I want to create more spirals, I can do that. But right now, it's not going to create anything because it's set to no fill and no stroke. Okay, so I'm going to select the object, holding down the Command key. Then I'm going to go to the Scale tool, pick a point to scale to, and scale down. Holding down the Option key to make a clone copy and the Shift key to constrain it. So I'm going to take this object and I'm going to put this object right up here at the top. I'm going to hold down Command Spacebar and just zoom in a little bit. Spacebar, grab the page, move the page. I'm going to move this up to here. So I'm going to select, move it to there. Now, what I want to do is I want to bring up my Pathfinder. So under the Window menu, Pathfinder, and I want to unite these, but I'm going to do this in a special way because I want to have flexibility. So I hold down the Option key, Macintosh, or Alt key for Windows, and I'm going to click, and that's going to unite the paths. Now, the advantage of what I did is if I take this and I move this someplace else, like here, and I then go and change the color, it's going to change the color of everything. So it's a pretty cool technique. Now, I did that because I united the paths, but I held down the Option key. So I get the added advantage of basically moving my objects. Okay, now let's build this spiral out. So I'm going to just Command minus a little bit to zoom out. I'm going to select the object, holding down the Command key, go to my R for rotation point, pick a point to rotate from, and start rotating around the object. Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. Okay, now if you want to get these closer in here, of course you can do that by selecting it and just moving it into place. Selecting and move into place. Selecting and move into place. And I'm holding down the Command key to do this. Now, for this outside, I wanted to hold down the Command key to select the object and the plus symbol, the Option key, and make a clone copy. So I'm going to select this. So I zoomed in here. I'm going to click right there and drag this out to about there. I'm now going to go to the rotation tool again, pick a point to rotate from, and rotate around. And I'm going to move that out so it doesn't bisect it, right about here. Now I'm going to go to the scale tool again, pick a point to scale from, Option key, click, and let's scale this down to say 45%. And when it's scaled down to 45%, I now hit R for rotation and drag this around. Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. So now I'm starting to get some really cool artwork around my spiral. So I could take this same object, I'm going to click in here, and drag this, hold down the Option key, and drag it up to here. Make sure you look over your mouse hand first. Then go to the R for rotation tool, pick a point to rotate from, and rotate down. So now I'm going to pick a point to rotate from here. Now if it helps you, you could actually create an oval to get in a perfect oval by holding down the Shift key from the center to basically get the radius ellipse. So if you want to basically match this up here, you could then see the center and turn this into a guide. So anything about viewing is seeing, guides, make Command 5 or Control 5 for Windows. So I basically made a guide. Now, I've been doing this long enough that I don't have to do that, but you could do that. You can turn anything into a guide. So with the object selected, I'm going to go back to my rotation tool, pick a point to rotate from, and rotate around, holding down the Option key to make a clone copy. Now, whether or not you want to constrain this or not, I'm not going to constrain it. I'm just going to put it right about here. And then anything about the object, again, is under the Object menu. Object Transform, duplicate the transformation. And I can duplicate, 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 duplicate. Now, if I take those selected objects, this object, this object, this object, this object. So now I can go back to my scale tool, pick a point to scale from, and start scaling it down so basically it touches the edge of that. And that's kind of a really cool technique. So I hope this was helpful. If you click the banner ad right here and go to my Think Illustrator, I have much more in-depth training, and I have now a free top 10 production techniques that you can learn from. Thanks again for being here. My name is Robert Farrell. Carpe Diem 2020. Stay home, stay safe, stay positive.